Fans, welcome to Sports Chat from our southern headquarters in lovely Chattanooga, Tennessee, high atop Lookout Mountain. We bring you this week's Sports Chat. A lot of stuff going on, both in UT and high school news. Let's start out talking a little bit about UT. SEC Media Days for this week.
Yeah, Dooley had a good showing in Media Days. He makes you proud that he's your coach. He's well spoken. He doesn't fumble around. He's not a smart aleck like Lane Kiffin.
Right.
Doesn't set out to anger people. Just smart, common sense. Seemingly honest answers.
And strange analogies.
And Dooley, he's got a quick wit about him. Very smart man.
Of course, their players that were there, they had a good showing as well. But what's really big that's been coming up this week is all the recruiting news.
Yeah, I think maybe Dooley had it planned this way. Probably had some silent commitments, and we're just waiting on Media Days to come about where they'll have the publicity. We've had, I think, 7 recruits commit now in the last 4 or 5 days.
So I mean, this is a bright future type scenario here. This could be a strong recruiting class.
Picked up a couple of linebackers, which we really have great need for. Get out of Georgia named Otha Peters, pretty highly thought of. Quarterback named Nathan Peterman. Right now they're based on the rankings from last season. Their star ratings aren't that particularly high, but Peterman, for instance, he went to 7-on-7 Madden passing camp in Florida. He's from Florida. A lot of great talent there anyway.
Right.
Went to a 7-on-7 passing camp and just had an outstanding performance and was immediately offered by a ton of schools. But Tennessee had been recruiting him for a while, and he committed to Tennessee.
That's good to hear. We're not going to be quarterback poor in the next few years.
No, we should not be quarterback poor. I like, if people look at the stars and they get caught up in stars on recruits, that's not always a good indicator of how good a player is. You get teams that win at a pretty high level without signing all the 5 stars. It's nice to get them. It brings publicity to your school when you get them. But they're not that necessarily always better than the other kids you're going to sign.
Right.
And picked up a running back out of Georgia. He's another pretty highly thought of player. Had a lot of good offers, and that's what I look at when I'm looking at the recruits. I look at who offered them scholarships. And today or yesterday, we got a commitment from a guy from Knox Central named Cody Blank.
Well, who we'll see it against Campbell County this year.
He hadn't really been heard of on the recruiting scene particularly, but he went to a camp at Virginia Tech. And he's 6'2", 190 pounds, plays wide receiver, safety. At Virginia Tech's camp, he ran a 4.440.
Wow.
At 6'2" and 190, and then he went. Virginia Tech offered him a scholarship immediately. And probably expecting him to play safety. He ran a 4.5 at Tennessee's camp. They offered him immediately too.
So this is the stuff you didn't see under Phil Fuller.
No, he wouldn't look at local recruits at all.
Because we've already got Devin Young coming in this year. Bearden product, former protege of Rodney Ellison.
You got good size. When you're 6'2" and 190 pounds and running 4.4, 4.5, 40, you're going to get a lot of colleges looking at you. And, we'll see how he works out. I expect him to make a contribution. And the other big thing, everybody Dooley's recruiting so far, really high GPA, really high ACT scores. They're not going to have
no
failure.
No big issue with academic eligibility.
No, not a commitment so far. But, the big 4 and 5 star kids, they don't start committing usually until towards the end of the recruiting process, and that's in February. And
it's a long way off.
You got an entire season to go. You never know who's going to rise or fall in the recruiting rankings, all that. So, we'll see how it works out through the season. But it was a good week for Tennessee. Names constantly in the news with new recruits every day.
Twitter was a buzz
Yeah.
with UT news.
Now, we got a commitment from a defensive end. We need defensive linemen. He was offered immediately by Ohio State, Michigan.
Well, we talk about defensive tackles a lot, but defensive ends, we're not exactly stacked with them.
No, it's easier to get defensive end prospects though, because you can convert linebackers to defensive end. But this guy looks like he's a true pass rusher. He's 6'2", 240. Pretty good speed.
That can mean a lot. Leonard Little off that end back in the day.
I mean, if you go,
He was just deadly.
it's like, the Colts defense in the NFL, it's hit or miss. But when Dwight Freeney's coming off the end having a good game, he wreak havoc on a team's offense.
Speaking of the NFL, the owners have presented the pretty much the documentation to end the lockout. We're just waiting on the players.
They thought it was going to end a few days ago, and it looked like it was going to, but there was some issue that came up. I'm not sure what, and the players didn't vote. And then I believe I heard that Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, who's apparently maybe possibly leading the negotiations or very highly involved in them, someone in his family was either fell ill or maybe died, and he had to rush out of the meetings and home, so that delayed it. And the Hall of Fame game has been canceled now.
So that's pretty much the kickoff to the preseason usually.
They expect this, actually, what I heard on the NFL Network this morning, they expect it all to be over with and signed by the players sometime on Monday, though.
And as of right now, the Hall of Fame game is the only game.
No, this is the rest of the preseason should go off normally.
Just it makes you wonder though how really ready the players will be with all the things that have been happening.
They're going to be scrambling to get camps done.
I mean, it's cut 3 weeks off your preparation for the season. Because technically, and I'm not sure what they were doing or not, the players aren't allowed to be working out.
They weren't allowed in the facilities, any of the facilities, from what I understood.
Peyton Manning said that his recovery has been set back a great deal because the physical therapist he works with is employed by the Colts.
And so therefore he could not work with said physical therapist.
I mean, he said there are other physical therapists there, but he said this guy he trusts the guy, and the guy's got him through several injuries already, and he didn't want to be really doing it with another person.
Right. The trust is really important you're getting recuperating from injuries that, especially at the magnitude that Peyton Manning is known to get injured at, because he doesn't do injuries lightly. He goes all in on his injuries.
That's true.
Well, it's a neck injury. He's got that really long neck anyway.
Sure.
It's like one of those African women that put the things on. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't think he did that.
To the Punjabis or something.
I think so. Now, football season is rapidly on its way.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just a shade under a month and a half now till college kicks off.
To me, college kicks off at the SEC Media Days. That's very quick. We have the SEC Media Days. In about a week and a half, freshmen are going to report. The day after freshman report, practice starts.
We may even try to go get some practice footage at some point. If Dooley will let, because there was at one point Dooley let no one in the.
Dooley is not big on his practices being covered.
And I kind of like that.
Well, he doesn't want. He don't want his players being interrupted with, outside interference. He wants to be able to. It's good. He wants to be able to kind of control what's happening in his practice. It's the best thing.
Not that we would be distracting or interrupting in any way.
No. I would be subdued.
Patrick often is subdued. Very calm. Luke gets a little out of control sometimes, but Patrick is very calm.
And of course, it's not just college and pro football on its way. High school football, right around the corner. In fact, this week we've got a treat coming on Thursday.
We just found out about it. I'm excited. I'm ready to watch it. Cumberland Gap is coming down.
Man.
They're going to. So Sean Jesse,
newly demoted to defensive coordinator.
That's right. Is coming down the valley to some old stomping grounds, and the Price brothers are going to see what their boys can handle against the Gap team. The Gap team, I gotta say it, they've had some pretty good seasons lately.
Yeah, they're generally a pretty good team.
Usually a playoff contender.
Right.
We'll see how Sean is adjusting his new role on the defense. The defense in these are especially prone to getting beat or burned.
But that's just the very nature of the passing
You're not
league.
allowed to rush the quarterback, so
Right.
That takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback. He can stay back there and throw it. So we'll see. Maybe we'll see if Sean strokes out.
It's been known to happen.
He has done it.
That's provided the game can go off with the heat we've been having lately. If the heat index is higher than 102, you're not allowed to play. All you heat worshippers out there, cheer for it to cool down a little bit so we can get these games in.
They have this little thing they hang on the fence, and it measures the heat index.
Campbell County's been doing pretty well in their passing league so far. They've been to Maryville.
We watched them against Grace. We have some footage on the YouTube channel.
Right. A pretty good crowd came out for the Grace game. I'd like to see that again when we'll be up there for the Campbell County passing league game. Fill the stands up, come out and support our young men there on the field. Show the Price brothers that we're behind them. The community needs to get excited so that the players will get excited. We have one of the largest teams we've had in years, really, coming out to play football. And they need some excitement in the community for them.
It is unheard of to have over 60 players on the team at Campbell County High School. It does not happen.
Right.
Yeah, from what we've talked to people, they're more excited about this, coaching staff, and I hate that it went down the way it did with Wells having to be let go and
The Minot fiasco.
Especially stuff we've been hearing about the Minot thing. And
We'll have more on that coming up
sort of troubling. We'll see
in the next few weeks. And here I thought the school board was doing so well, which most of them are. But there's one, and you know who you are. And I know you at least have somebody watch this.
Yes.
So we'll see what comes up. We're all excited about the Price brothers. It's a strange path to get here, but
they're here now. That's what's important.
Right. They're working hard. I was extremely impressed. They gave us a tour of the facilities, and just the sheer amount of work that they're putting in, the coaches themselves are putting into the facilities. It's not like they're just coaching the kids, but they also, they're teaching. They spend their day teaching, then coaching the kids, and then come in at odd hours, putting all the work into the
facilities upgrade that's gone on. That field house, we'll probably get some video footage of it just to kind of make you understand what's changed.
It's a beautiful new field house, painted. I saw the pictures on Facebook. If you do like the Cougar football page, if you're not liking it, go to the Cougar football page, click like, and Justin's dad painted that. Justin and Matt's dad painted that field house, and with some help from a few other of his people. They fixed the weight room, and
they have plans for improving the weight room. It's not the right time to worry about improving the weight room right now because weightlifting time's over.
They spent hours on all of this outside.
During their dead period, during the time that. Let me explain TSSAA dead period. It's sort of like this lockout. Players and coaches are not allowed to interact. And, credit where it's due. Tim Zapanzik in particular over at Absolute Fitness always cuts the players a really good deal to use his gym to work out because they cannot go to the field house and work out during dead period. Normally, coaches take off. This is their chance to vacation. Their chance to spend time with
literally only
whoever.
Just a few weeks of the year that they have where they're not busy coaching.
Football's a true year-round sport now.
And because when they're not coaching even when the football season ends immediately after that, the players get a bit of a break. The coaches are still teaching, doing their job,
getting ready for
watching. If they watch film, get ready for next year, put the workout plans in place.
Fans, we're going to go ahead and call it this segment. We'll be right back with segment 2. We'll talk a little bit more about Cougar football and all the other stuff coming up in Campbell County sports.